Alrighty then, gentlemen, your second round of events. I think Epic went first on the last round, so do you have a second one for us?
Well, I have a general thing, but I need a little bit of a piece here. Uh, is there anyone that would be, like, looking for, I'll just say, challengers who can withstand pain, basically?
Don't think so.
Could you define that a little bit better?
Basically, some form of challenge in which the goal is to withstand either pain. That's basically it.
Jackalor might, but the kind of experiments he does would probably make you frenzy.
Probably.
Just seeing them happen to others, I mean.
If no one can think of anything particular, there went that idea.
Now what about you, Bacon? Do you give a fuck about pain resistance? I think you're mostly about smashing
sure.
things.
Probably
Talking about pain.
smash.
You're kind of cutting in and out, Bacon, I think.
Probably just smashing things is more important.
Hmm.
Darn it. I was gonna take advantage of both, in the clan book there is a, derangement that helps with the pain, and also merit. So combining those two in a single vampire would make it basically like, oh, you shot me in the chest. I don't care.
I mean, I would have applied, but I kind of already a juggernaut my own self, so I can't. I don't care that much.
I mean, if you didn't have a history of trying to rescue gargoyles, maybe Jackalor could work with you, but
I'll try and
as
think of
is...
something else. I'll work out something else.
Okay. Well, you can think on it and we can just go around. Who does have something ready?
I was thinking of doing another thing with Jacklor, since I was already here helping with Bacon, and I think a little while ago, we said something like Bacon and Jacklor were working together in a similar place. So I think I would have had a good chance of actually meeting Jacklor as well here.
You can actually make that a triple thing with you, Jackalor, and Bacon then, because that makes more sense.
Sure.
Up to them. Sure then.
Just
Second.
make sure that as these are set up to record them, and preferably the amount of successes rolled where possible, or at least the general idea of how well who did. Bacon?
He said be right back.
Okay.
I think he said yes, though, to the idea, but then said be right back. Not sure.
Okay, so what kind of idea do you have in mind, Demi?
Well, I was thinking, I probably would have met with Bacon first, and depending on how close Bacon and Jackal really are, seeing as we're still kind of fighting the Sabbat, I'm sort of going on the way that maybe Bacon introduced me to the Chantry, the Tremere, as a sort of another elite sort of fighting force.
Yeah. Personally, I think the best way that works is if there was some sort of a counter push from a Sabbat force and you use this as a base to essentially try and take it out. You know, like launch the counterattack from here.
That could work, yeah.
3 or 4 bright-eyed doggos with you. Just like Elder lead us, Jackalor watching them like, that one on the right. I think I could work with that one.
Probably not. Not in his presence.
You're lucky I don't have Auspex, piece of shit.
You do not want to ever read his thoughts, cause then it's a fight to the death.
Time to learn Auspex from the little Malakalopoly kick.
Actually, let me take a look at the other gangrel. I don't think either of them had Auspex. Nope. Don't think Archie did either. Nope.
Yeah, we should, since Bacon was, it seems AFK, we should probably clarify too what we're doing. We're basically doing a, goddamn, I almost said a threesome, but yeah, kind of like that with me, you, and Jackalor.
Oh my fucking god.
I know, it's lovely.
Fuck you.
Bacon, think of essentially organizing a counterattack using New Orleans as a base to push back a Sabbat offensive. This would probably be in like 1840s at this point, a bit later on, and they were starting to push forward again. When did New Orleans fall originally, Jackalor? 1860. So 1840
yeah,
works as a probing attack of some kind. Is everyone good with that?
Yeah.
So, I think at this point, Sir Alan Percy had full well realized his vulnerability to things like war, so he wouldn't necessarily be on the front lines himself. So for him, I'm thinking something like charisma politics, to convince the neonates to go and die for him.
Yes, and I think that he would eloquently convince them that they fighting is the good thing.
Uh-huh. You know, you could just, when you start talking about this, whenever you meet the eyes of a Ventral, you see, they understand what you're doing and why, and they're just gonna be on the second or third line instead of the first line, because you understand where you stand.
Oh, I also have natural leader that would help on this situation.
What does that do specifically?
I
Doesn't
don't
it only
remember.
affect leadership roles?
Was that a merit? I think that was a 1-point merit, wasn't it?
Yeah, one
Yeah.
point mark.
Yeah, I think it gave like +2 or +3 extra dice for leadership roles.
Oh,
I'll look it up.
It was on reference
Make
desk.
it a
Yes.
good time we argue with the manipulation leadership role than politics.
I would say not, because a lot of this is actually about organizing things as well. And there, politics matters more. You're not trying to you're not trying to inspire a crowd, you're trying to organize a vast bureaucracy to focus itself to a point and smash something.
Holy shit! Bacon
What?
took common sense.
oh yeah, I have common sense.
Which is another reason why, when you heard that the attack was being led by Zamitzi and Voz, you were like, maybe not personally. Because, yeah, you would realize that at this point, with as much as you've done to that clan, it would be like blood in the water. They would swarm to get at you. And that is not a survival strategy.
Okay, here's a question though. While Bacon was doing that, I would I have been there when he's doing this speech or something?
There would have been many speeches. Well, here's the question. What would you be doing as part of, blunting the offensive? What kind of role would you essentially drift towards?
Well, first of all, I was gonna first argue that since Bacon has a much more ulterior motive of just sending in neonates like that, while of course he and his Ventru pals stay in the back, I might have argued a little against that, which is my thing. Is what I was going for.
Okay, so now we know who to blame for New Orleans falling in the first place.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
I know, but it's like. But first of all, I mean, I was going to ask, like, should I do a perception empathy roll to first see if I can see these ulterior motives in the background?
You would be able to see them at this point. He probably, given that you have worked together in past, would have suggested that you don't be in the thick of fighting yourself either and just inspire from the back, honestly. And so far everyone still has access to each other's sheets and I have no problem with this because reasonings.
I don't have access to it.
You should, it's set all players.
Nope, I can't see it.
Shit, I need to hide something. Shh, don't let them see my stuff yet.
Oh yeah, we can see Epic's one.
Boom. Nope, that doesn't exist. I'm not letting anyone find that out before stuff.
What did you just delete? Whisper to me.
I cut it, to be blunt, so that they don't know about that.
What, your combo ability? Everyone fucking knows.
As if everyone knows that.
Epic, stop being coy.
I'm
Seriously.
trying to send it to you. It's not going for some reason. I think my Roll20 just broke or something.
Send it to me on Curse then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
let me send it over there. So yeah, I'll do it on here.
give me charisma politics, Bacon, and well, what would you be doing, Jackal, or staying on your own, or are you actually joining in the talks?
I'd probably there just as a consultant, if nothing else.
Okay, so you would essentially be doing the magic stuff, mostly. Okay,
Wow.
you give me your intelligence occult, and Demi give me charisma expression.
Okay, does Enchanting Voice help you or not?
It does.
Okay. Other things to confirm. Smooth talker, probably no. And expression, I picked conversation, actually. Probably not as well, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
You're
just to-
getting
again.
on a
Kindle.
tank and starting a revolution, bitch.
Okay, so
Yeah,
difficulty
Kindle.
4 for me.
Difficulty for you will make it a 4 because in every
There's-
Bruja asshole there lives an anarch soul.
Those will...
For fuck's sake, Demi.
Oh, not good enough.
Also, again, it's kindred lores that should apply again.
This less so because it's less exotic shit, and it's mostly making weapons in this case.
Well, creative in that case. For intelligence.
Again, not sure. I think you're just using generic stuff. Oh, that. Right. Yeah.
I don't want people seeing that until it comes into effect.
Fine. Just write it in your inventory then. Okay, so the way this works out is that you're able to slow the advance and stop it. Not that far from New Orleans, but due to Demi's help, you are unable to push it back. Because even though he helps in the fighting, the enthusiasm from the lower ranks is mildly lacking with the whole helping with all the dying that needs to be done. So the counterattack falters and grinds to a standstill.
Great.
Fucking hell, Demi.
This is why New
I'm not-
Orleans fell.
Another
Fucking
fucking
hell.
7.
I'm just doing
Low-
things that would make sense, okay, for me at least.
You know, another
Very
15 or
classic.
20 years later, the attack started again, and this time, the city had had weakened itself so much with the elders chewing on the neonates and the neonates vice versa, that there was nothing that could be done at this point. But, Demi, if ever the Ark movement rises up, they might, instead of proclaiming their own Baron, give you the crown. Congratulations! You're not wrong, Jekyll. Fucking Gangrel are revolting.
I love it.
You know, I was thinking of the exact same event. You know, at the very least, he might be like a compromise prince between the Anarchs and Camarilla at this point.
Fucking hell. You can't kill him either because he's too important.
You know it, bitch.
You know, whosoever striketh him down shall earn the enmity of Clan Gangrel unto the 7th generation. Suddenly, the city's Gangrel population quadruples in 3 weeks. Oh. You know,
so-
Somehow
as
this
you're
happened
saying, we need-
despite. Somehow this happened despite losing all of the initial population as well.
you know, I'm just imagining Jackalor after killing Demi walking down a street for some reason and just clouds of mist slowly starting to gather from every direction.
I mean, I'd probably just stake him and send him back if he ever tries to assault the Chantry. If he's ever stupid enough for that.
Man the trebuchets.
Okay,
Fucking hell.
so that was
Your magic
Demi's.
might prevent us, but can it stop a 20-pound stone? 20-ton stone?
75 kilogram projectile from 200 meters.
As if. That's 20 tons. It's a piece of a tower that
20
fell.
tons?
Yeah, go for it. It's a giant trebuchet. He went big or go home.
I don't
The
think he can-
werewolves come over and bind a spirit of siege and holy war into the trebuchet.
And don't you argue with me on a trebuchet being unable to do that. It totally can. You just need to make it big enough, because it's physics. Cool.
It would need to be fucking massive. I don't think wood can handle that. You need to make it entirely out of metal.
I mean,
Depends.
the US of A still has a manufacturing industry at this point. Surely steel can be acquired.
It's a giant steel trebuchet.
You know,
You might say-
fairies
Yeah.
faint just by looking at it. So, write down how that went. Jackalor probably holds a grudge.
You don't
Perhaps.
fucking say.
I have an idea for Jackalor's second one, but why don't we hear if he has one first?
I'm writing currently. Give your idea. I'm currently busy.
I want to hear yours first, because I don't want to interfere with your thinking.
I don't really have one right now, really.
Okay, well, my idea was you essentially staying behind and managing the retreat as New Orleans fell some 20 years later.
Yeah, sounds good.
just give the Gangrel a dirty look as the boss is coming down the street towards the hordes. That moment
It's
where
just standing
the
inside him,
audience
yeah.
doesn't know if you're gonna close the door or keep it open for him.
I'd probably just do it just because it'd be a fucking fop out not to. It'd be seriously stupid not to.
What, close the door?
Yeah, on him in his face and not let him through the wards.
So you would let him through?
Yes, I would let him through, mainly out of principle. Mainly out of the principle of don't piss off the entirety of the Clan Gangrel.
He's too popular to be challenged. He is the Senate.
One could say I have unlimited power, Jackal.
You know, he
No,
walks
you
into a
don't.
Gangrel clan moot, and half the people just shut up, and the other half are shushed by the ones that did shut up.
At this point, I feel like I should stake him in a basement and keep him there as a hostage.
I'm just
until
waiting
they
for
stop
that.
fucking around.
I'm just waiting for that moment when that actually happened. When Jackal pisses me enough, I go to this moot. All the gangrels there. And I'm just like, everybody shuts up. And I'm just like, Tremere Chantry. That was Volt. Go on him.
This isn't the fucking 1400s, goddammit.
At that point, someone else speaks up. I've heard things about that one. There's whispers of experiments. And lone Gangrel going missing in that area.
Did I say Deus Volt? I meant Ave Maria.
Fucking hell.
You know, Demi rolls charisma leadership. Every success is then Gangrel neonates that throw themselves at the chantry.
You know, seeing as this actually goes, I might have to actually rework my sheet a little bit.
Nope, too late. It's done.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I actually don't have leadership. I work through expression.
That's fine, you can buy it with XP.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so we'll cover Jackalor's last one probably last then, because we need to know where Vivian is, because I'm assuming Alan Percy would be helping defend New Orleans.
Let's see. Be available. Well, everyone's available at different points in time, so. I want Vivian to go and investigate something. I'm just not sure what kind of thing she would investigate. Someone in trouble, sure, but I'm not sure how that would relate to other people.
Well, I think Jackalor does have rumors of Lone Gangrel vanishing around his area, but I think that's later. So
I do think that's later, and I'm not sure I want to go and investigate that, because that would mean I might end up actually having enmity with Jackalor instead of just friendly communication with him.
I mean, you might forgive him, because mostly those would be hostile Gangrel and Zemitzi being in Sabat territory, but, you know.
I know what happens in there. I have a feeling I know what happens in there.
I mean, he set a Zemitzi neonate on fire and put him in a state of permanent frenzy, and then threw him at his elders. Once.
Yeah.
That's why one of the many reasons why he has... Well, I'm not sure if he has clan enmity, Zemitzi specifically, but I certainly dislike him more than most Tremere. Alright. You, Jackalor, when you write down clan enmity and flaws, make sure that you write down which clan it was to. Same for Dark Secret. Make sure it's written down for who it relates to. or what it relates to. I think yours was towards Gangrel.
Yes.
So there's no way you wouldn't know Vivian. It would come out to the extent he would have done things like that during the
Yeah.
siege of the Chantry.
Damn it. The only one I can think of is with Bacon, but Bacon already did one with me, and I'd rather not
You
unite
can
one thing.
you can do one with Bacon from your side as long as your first one wasn't with Bacon.
Nope, it wasn't. Yeah, I should do some for a group thing, but an hard time thinking. Yes, part of that is yes, Demi. But is there a situation that multiple elders would be in some serious trouble, and I could go and try and save them, and some of them could be the other players?
That would
Maybe an
probably...
anarch revolt is starting to begin, or something like that.
Serious trouble would probably be before New Orleans fell, with the city being divided against itself and the Sabbat forces advancing rapidly. It's probably starting in like 1857 time-wise.
Definitely be there.
So at that point you could try and come over and essentially try and hold the city together.
Yeah, I can do that.
Demi might not officially hold primogenship in the city, but in all but name he would be primogen, and Alan Percy almost certainly would be the ventral primogen, so in a way you would have had a large amount of control over the city in the past, so it would make sense as a continuity thing to put you back in charge as well, which makes this all fit together rather well.
So Vivian's gonna go over there and see about trying to unite all of the vampires into more of a uniform force against the Sabbat in New Orleans. Is that about right?
Yeah, pretty much. So, how would... Okay, let me set the scene for this. Well, actually, before we do that, these last pieces we kind of want in a chronological order, because they might affect how we, do the further ones. So, Bacon, do you want to pitch something that happens before 1857 with the Sabbat advancing? I think you have a second one, right?
Yeah, I still did not choose my second one, but... Francis. No, I don't have anything. I would like one after we retreat from... after they failed advance. I would like to just give a lesson to Halfdan that even though it's not such a nice thing to do, we need to have people dying for us to battle be effective.
Well, we can just have that conversation as a... You know what? We can say that those speeches did trigger like a political crisis in the city and that you're trying to resolve it and getting Halfdan to reconcile with the establishment as part of it. Does that work for you, Demi?
Sure, but I would like to, have a small little argument with it as well, like a counter argument. Which is basically, I just, I know people have to die for this. I'm just mostly like, the Ventrue aren't really pulling enough from their own side, while everyone else is.
Okay.
Because I know that they're gonna be in the back and being all, hey, we're doing stuff.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough. This would probably be too quick a crisis for Vivian to necessarily show up that quickly. Let's see, you don't have any special status within your own clan specifically other than some pluses.
Me? Yeah.
You have +2 with Malkavians, right?
Yes.
I'm okay with all of you coming over at that point when that political crisis kicks off, because a Malkavian could have easily sent over the network like, please come over and protect our interests, we're about to be sacrificed and butchered.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
You know? Please save us, Elder!
I'm coming!
Okay, so you are talking about the harsh realities of life, and that sounds to me like a politics role. Bacon,
Yes.
for you, Demi, that sounds like a charisma empathy role. What about
Okay.
you, Jackal? Or would you be participating in this semi-public, semi-private, long discussion of how to get shit together?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, how would you be approaching it?
They're arguing about whether or not everyone's doing their part, right?
That's a big part of the conversation, yes. Bacon's arguing about unity and needing to, for some people, need having to die in order to, you know, stop the localized apocalypse from hitting, essentially.
Hmm. Well,
Yes, Jackalor?
I want to figure out a way how to do this without essentially sending myself into the fray.
Cunt.
You know, you could just
Yeah.
go with manipulation leadership and just be completely self-serving. On the other side of the argument, like, our wisdom and skills that the younger generations don't match need to be maintained because they're vital to the fight.
Yeah, I'd probably argue that. It's
And you, Epic, how would you go about this?
Vivian would come in and start, once she knew what the, entire situation going on was, start going on about how they needed to try and form a united front while also bringing up everybody's strengths to their maximum potential. Like, Nosferatu possibly going in, finding out information, Malkavians not being part of the front line, but more of performing subversive activities on the Sabbat. The Bruja possibly, kicking in some teeth, all of that stuff.
Uh-huh. That sounds like a charisma leadership. And your bonuses would apply, but given that Vivian is trying to be very ambitious with this, I will say that you would wash to a 6. That being said, if you roll well on this, it is essentially gonna have a far wider effect than the others. Essentially, yeah, if you do good, you might be able to get the city to function. For a while, because this is happening more or less after the Sabbat advance was stopped, and there's still 10 years in which things can, collapse again, and you need to... Because right now you have a city that is still strong and capable of functioning. Later on, when you're trying to do this again, it's going to be a panicked city on the edge of collapsing.
Okay, so she is eloquent with charisma, so that might help.
Yeah, I would say that would apply. So make your rolls. Manipulation, leadership, Jackal or Bacon. Charisma politics, you charisma empathy, Demi.
Yeah, would my enchanting voice happen here or not?
Enchanting
Okay,
voice
so-
would apply.
would
Four.
well-reasoned apply to my manipulation.
Yes.
Decent.
Bitch.
I wish I could spend willpower on this. I can't. We'll just have to see. Yes!
Wow, we're all fucking equal almost.
Oh, no, mine is not equal.
Yeah,
Mine
no,
is
I mean,
not
just
equal.
princesses. I know you're
Yeah.
much great.
You know, this is why she has so much status despite being a Valkyrian. That day, or those couple of months, her status grew by one whole dot. You know, it was a very divisive issue, and mostly, like, you forced the elders to recognize some of their failings, Demi, but in practice, little enough changed with both Jackalor and Bacon. Forced, opposing you. But with Vivian's work there, it's the token bone they threw to the younger generations was enough to get people to work together for the time being.
Good enough, I guess.
So I'm assuming that three of you would stay until the city eventually fell. Would you be staying for the time being, Vivian?
Vivian would have stayed for a little while, but she's really not a combat character, and it would just depend on if, once they united, she'd probably go to try and fix another problem somewhere.
Okay. So yeah, then yours was to essentially manage the city that is falling apart, because at that point the neonates would have realized that even though a lot of things were promised, most of it never was actually delivered on or turned out to be so vague as to be meaningless. And panic would be setting in, because the Sabbath keep getting closer. And everyone can smell, the ashes in the wind. And this, once again, would involve everyone. So how would you all deal with the city starting to collapse around you? Okay, Jackalor, you first.
Sorry, there was a lot of music, and you're saying?
How would you deal with the city starting to collapse around you? This would be in 1858, just a couple of years before it finally falls.
Build higher fucking walls.
Okay, so at that point you just do a ritual to reconfigure how the node is erased and just pour more of the quintessence into the wards.
Yeah, just spam more rituals to protect the chantry.
I mean, you just essentially, yeah, you would.
Reinforce the structure with concrete, all that good stuff.
I think with the quintessence flowing through it, to some extent, it would slowly shift with times. It might take years for the architecture to change, but it would eventually shift and upgrade itself as well, so... But okay. Essentially, you would have been laying in stores, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Alright. Bacon, how would Alan Percy be reacting?
He would probably set up emergency measures, raiding the city for evacuation if anything extreme happens, and set up final lines of defense.
Okay. Fucking rats fleeing a sinking ship. God damn it. Fucking elders. You know
Luckily,
how
I
that looks from the neonates.
Luckily, I managed to build you guys a ship before going off to build another.
You know, those 5 successes, that essentially means that the city it's just eking out life. It means that it was actually fighting and doing damage those past 10 years. Which makes it a heroic last stand, not just getting gutted like a fish.
Yay!
They're all still dead, though.
That's alright. They went out in a way that is much preferable to the other. People die. It happens.
Whenever you think of that, voices still whisper to you, "We called on you to save us. Why?"
They asked me to save them from being used just for front lane fodder. That's exactly what I did.
Sure.
They resisted and bited in the most effective way they could.
Okay, so Demi, seeing the writing on the wall, how would you be reacting?
So, I'm actually thinking I'm gonna follow what Bacon is because we are way too disorganized and falling into chaos, and the Sabbat definitely win in the chaos part. So, what I would actually be doing is more of something of like it's kind of heroic thing, as in staying into the fray, trying to save as many neonates and vampires along, and trying to get them to fall back onto the defensive line, while I try to stay on the front line, trying to save everybody, basically.
You know, there would have been at least 3 or 4 Bruja who would have been like, bro, the Ventru are holding us back. Now's the time to strike. It's the only way to win.
Individually, we are now working individually. We cannot win against an organized group like that. If we can organize all the Bruja, the Gangrel, and everybody as well, we can definitely win. If we get the Ventru out, of course. But just as Bruja, we can't do it. We need the others.
Yeah, they're... Okay, so you would have encouraged that kind of sedition?
Encourage.
Well, he would have tried. I think he's saying he would try and unite what is left against the Ventru as well as the Sabbat.
A little bit like that. Because I mean, basically, what I'm trying to get to is
The enemy is in our lines as well as theirs.
Ventru, get the bullet too!
like we can definitely win this battle, right? The Ventru are pulling us back, but right now we are too disorganized. We just have to fall back for a second, then we can get the Ventru and the Sabbat, basically. Right now it's just chaotic.
Would he mean this about fighting the Ventru as well?
I think some subtle hints might fall through.
So, enough for them to interpret it the way they want to and shut up for now.
That works.
I think that at this point, you have a +1 with the Anarchs and -1 with the Camarilla Demi. I mean...
Let me just put that in my backstory.
Yeah, just write that down, I think, because essentially clear Anarch sympathies, and in an Elder that's like, wait, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I think that's why we don't let peasants be elders.
Oh, fuck. They kill them when they hit 200 years. They've lived enough.
Hey! Don't call Vivian a peasant. He was raised as a nice noble girl.
Yeah, Vivian isn't a peasant. Half of them is.
Oh, come on. They're essentially peasant nobility. A country estate that might as well be a big farm, Bacon. Don't give me that crap. Nobility, come on. I mean, she might not be technically a peasant, but she's not that far.
Oh, there's a big difference between a lesser noble and a peasant.
I mean, they're different in the soul, right?
Right.
But yeah, I'm going to eat now.
Oh. God damn it, Bacon. Okay. Fuck. Can you finish this part at least?
I think he's gone.
I think he left already.
Bacon makes me sad in the soul. I'm gonna split the video here.